So kids, today let's start with railways. The first railway line was laid between Mumbai and Thane. The first railway line was laid between Mumbai to Thane by British. After that, overall in our country, 43 rail systems were established. Today, India's railway is integrated and it is managed by central government. At present, 18 million passengers, more than 2 million tons of cargo daily is transported through railways. 1.4 million employees are working in railway. Today, if you see, Indian Railway is operating at two levels. One is long distance and second is suburban. Suburban system is not there everywhere. The suburban trains which handle the suburban commuter traffic are generally EMU, electric multiple units. In last 150 years, India has made phenomenal progress in our railways. No wonder we have expanded so much, but that has put huge pressure on our central government to manage it. Because of which central government was finding it difficult to manage. Central government had lot of pressure to manage such a huge expanded railway of India. To ease out that pressure, central government divided Indian railways into 18 railway zones, and each railway zone has one operating unit, one headquarter which is its operating unit. Now in India we have metro also, which is mainly in the metropolitan cities, that is Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. We have three types of track system. Broad gauge. When the distance between two rails is 1.676 meter, we call it as broad gauge. 85% of total rail route in our country is broad gauge. In fact, all the main routes are mainly broad gauge. Broad gauge connects maximum places of India. Maximum movement of people, movement of goods take place on broad gauge. That is why broad gauge is called as India gauge. Second, we have meter gauge. The distance between the two rails is 1 meter. It is 11% in our country. Then we have narrow gauge. The distance between two rail track is 0.762 meter or 0.610 meter. It constitutes only 4% of the total rail length in our country. In fact, very important to remember, it is confined in our country only to hilly areas, because in hills there is not enough space to expand, and narrow gauge occupies only 0.762 or 0.610 meter. That is why they are confined only till hilly area 4%. In fact, Government of India has started a project of conversion of maximum meter gauge into broad, so that commuters don't have the inconvenience of changing the train. We have one railway track which is called as Konkan Railway Line. It is 760 km long railway line starting from Roha in Maharashtra, ends at Mangalore in Karnataka. It passes through 3 states who are partner of this: Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka. This railway line is called as Konkan Railway Line. It has been termed as engineering marvel of Indian Railway. This entire route, if you take right from Roha to Mangalore, it has nearly 2000 bridges, 146 rivers and streams, 91 tunnels. It passes through Asia's longest tunnel, 6.5 km. That is why it has been described as engineering marvel of Indian Railway. Now, Government of India has started a project of inviting private participation for operation of passenger train services in our country. Now, what is the objective of inviting private participation? The main purpose of inviting private participation is government want to increase the number of trains because there is deficiency in supply and the demand is too high. Secondly, they want to reduce the transit time. Third, we want to boost employment opportunity. Fourth, we want to also provide world-class travel experience with lot of modern amenities in the train. It has been decided that even though the private participation will be invited, but the clearance of that will be given by railways, and the guard and the driver of the train again will be from Indian Railway only. We have some of the high-speed trains in our country. The Tejas Express is India's first semi-high-speed fully air-conditioned train, which the first Tejas Express had ran between CST, Shivaji Maharaj Chhatrapati, Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus. It went till Karnali in Goa, the first Tejas Express. Today we have Vande Bharat also, which is the latest, fastest train in India. Now, what are the advantages of railways? Railways are very efficient, very cost effective. In fact, it helps in movement of agricultural goods like coal, iron ore, finished products, raw material. It also helps in movement of agricultural goods like fertilizers, food grains. All the bulky material also can be easily transported through trains. There are special goods trains for that. Railways also help in transportation of raw material from the production units to the markets. They also have brought villages closer to the cities. They help in transferring of new ideas. Also, they help to reduce suffering at the time of natural disaster. They also work as integrating forces. They also help in easy movement of police troops and defense troops in our country. They also provide quite comfortable journey because there are corridors to move around, there are sleeping berths, there are enough leg space to stretch. It is said that when you are traveling with babies and elders, it is believed that trains are quite comfortable. But kids, while riding, the advantage is avoid riding the point of comfortable. Disadvantage, they lack flexibility of route. Why we don't have railways in the hilly areas? Because of this, because we lack flexibility of route, you cannot lay down railway tracks in hilly areas. Also, train travel can be very long and very tedious. They cannot connect continents with each other. They cannot cross ocean. You cannot lay down railway tracks in every industrial areas. In fact, if you want to travel your industrial goods, your raw material or your finished goods to industry or from industry, you will have to do your loading and unloading of cargo at the station, and again you will have to use some other mode of transport to reach the final destination. The trains which run on coal causes lot of air and noise pollution. Also kids, there are 18 railway zones given in your textbook. Out of this, very important to remember, they have given short form of all the railway zones, which includes NR, that is Northern Railway, NER, Northeastern Railway, NFR, Northern Frontier Railway, ER, Eastern Railway, SER, South Eastern Railway, SCR, South Central Railway, SR, Southern Railway, CR, Central Railway, WR, Western Railway, SWR, South Western Railway, NWR, North Western Railway, WCR, West Central Railway, NCR, North Central Railway, SECR, South East Central Railway, ECOR, East Coast Railway, ECR, East Central Railway. Okay, and 17th railway zone is about for Kolkata Metro, and 18th is SCOR, South Coast Railway. These are your 18 railway zones, and their headquarters are also given. You have to learn the full forms of all 18 of them, and whose headquarters you should know very well: Northern, Southern, Eastern, Western, Central, and the last two, which is Kolkata Metro and South Coast Railway. These headquarters you should know very well. So that was all about your railway. Also, remember one thing, they can ask you, compare road and rail. So how is the advantage and disadvantage of each other? Also, they can ask you, how are railways better than airways? So railways are cheaper, airways are expensive. Railways connect cities and villages, airways connect only cities and cities with each other. Airways depend on weather, railways really don't depend on weather. But how is airways better? Airways are the fastest. Airways can cross any physical barrier. So kids, remember one thing, similarly they can ask you rail and road. Railways are expensive as compared to road because the cost of railway construction is a bit high. Roads have advantage, they can be connected in the hilly area, they can be constructed in hilly area also. Road provide door-to-door service, railways don't provide door-to-door service. So kids, remember one thing, all the four, air, rail, road, water, they can ask advantage and disadvantage of one over another. So that also you should know very well. So that was your railway. Thank you so much.